Here's
Do you
my
think they'll
advice.
survive?
My first advice is allocate time to learn.
The crypto market this week has been weird. After hitting all-time highs, we've seen pullbacks in all the major cryptos, while dog coins and meme coins have gone ballistic, increasing hundreds if not thousands of percent, all in the matter of a few weeks. The most famous of all has been the coin Shiba Inu, which rocketed into the top 10, even briefly flipping the reigning king of meme coins, Dogecoin. To put into perspective how incredibly ridiculous a run-up has been for Shiba Inu, a wallet that bought $8,000 worth of SHIB in August of 2020 is now sitting on $5.7 billion worth of coins. To put it lightly, things are going mental. Michael Saylor just this week got asked what his opinion was on investors rushing into altcoins and meme coins, and he gave a stark warning as well as his top advice to investors that are looking to make life-changing gains. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where I will cover the latest on-chain Bitcoin data to see where the Bitcoin price is likely to go in the short term. Also, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. If you enjoy finance content, consider subscribing or liking the video. It's free and you can always change your mind.
So the first place I'd start is get yourself educated, right? If I told you this is the most important thing in 100 years and you can make a fortune, or it's going to be the best investment of your life, but the catch is you have to spend 100 or a few hundred hours studying it. Do you care? You'll spend 50,000 hours working at a job you don't like for the rest of your life. So maybe spend 1,000 hours thinking about how to keep your money. So I would say that. And then my next thing I would say is an investment principle. You got to divide your money into 4 categories, right? And the average person says, what do I want to save? What do I want to save and have for my retirement or give to my children or just hold? What do I want to invest? What do I want to trade? And what do I want to speculate or gamble with? That's the way to see the world. If you're a professional trader and you've got smart computers and algorithms and you're an expert, then you can trade. If you're not a professional, don't do that. Divide your money into 3 categories: save, invest, and gamble. Okay? And if you want to take 5% of your money and go to Vegas and go and gamble because it's fun, or bet on sports or bet on soccer or whatever, do that, right? That's fine, but you know that you're gambling for fun. It's amusing. It's a good time. I'm not judgmental, right? It is what it is. Don't gamble the money you need to feed your children, right? That's not good. The last 2 buckets are save and invest. The whole idea of Bitcoin is you're buying 1/21 millionth of the money on the network for the next 1,000 years. And that's the only aspiration. It wants to be just pure energy, pure monetary energy. And the idea is don't screw it up, don't attack it, make it unhackable, don't mess with it. Take some amount of your money that you want to save, and if you think that's a good idea, you put it there. If you want to invest, you can invest in a big crypto platform that you think is going to change the world, but just be aware, you're investing against all the other cryptos. There's going to be a high failure rate. There's going to be some successes, some failures. And you're also investing in something which competes with Amazon, Apple, Google, and all the conventional CeFi. Because all these ideas, it's NFT is a good idea, but it's possible that Twitter and Facebook could position themselves as an NFT platform too, or Google or Apple could. So, the issue is, I like the idea of owning it, but what if it's you invested in Spotify and then Amazon Music came along and then Apple Music came along and so you're an investor and there's risk, and you just have to be aware that if it's a venture capital investment, there's a 99% chance you'll lose everything, right? If it's a small VC company. So if you look at these things, there's one thing, Bitcoin, which is a savings technology. There's about, there's 100 cryptos worth more than $1 billion. And then you've got 5,900 that are actually ventures. So 5,900 venture investments, 100 technology investments with a lot of competition and uncertainty. And then you've got one savings, one revolutionary paradigm shift. if you go and listen to maybe one of the smartest regulators in the world, that'd be Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler literally taught a course at MIT.
Yeah.
You can go watch the course. Go on Google. If you're going to risk your life savings, maybe you ought to go on Google and type Gary Gensler blockchain and money, and then sit for 25 hours and see what he said. And what you'll see is at the end of all of it, after 3 years of studying and after all this, he stood in front of Congress last week, 2 weeks ago, and he said, Satoshi's innovation is real.
Yeah.
Okay. Bitcoin is real. That's going to change the world. Everything else is either an investment or a speculation. And you may, and if you have good information and if you understand the market better, maybe you ride it. But they're different things. And you should figure out, are you a gambler? Are you a trader? Are you an investor? Are you a saver? And it would be a tragedy to think that you're saving money, in one of the yo-yo coins.
Yeah.
And on the, because you're not saving money, you're gambling money. I think one interesting model is to ask yourself the question, who are the other people that are buying this thing? Like, why did they buy it? Like, if I'm buying a building in Istanbul, why do other people buy buildings in Istanbul? If I'm buying gold, what do the other gold investors think? If I'm buying Bitcoin, what do the other Bitcoiners think? Why did they buy it? How long do they intend to hold it? And then the second question to ask yourself is, who am I going to sell it to in a decade? Or who am I going to sell it to when I decide to sell it? So if you apply that principle, for example, to Bitcoin, well, you think that has evolved, but right now there are a lot of people buying Bitcoin to hold it for a long time period, the hodlers.
Yeah.
Right? It's part of the ethos. And it's interesting to everybody in the world. They call it, the currency of enemies or the money of enemies. Like an American could eventually sell a lot of Bitcoin to someone in China or Russia or the like. And generally, what's the plan? Well, the plan at MicroStrategy is to buy billions of dollars of it and hold it forever. Okay, so if you understand there are people that think that way, then the character of the investors will be the character of the asset, right? And so as you sort through all your various tokens and coins, and you try to choose between, like, am I going to buy Dogecoin, right? Who bought it? How long are they going to hold it? Who am I going to sell it to? Think about that. And then when you're considering whether you want to own property or gold or stocks, right? Even the type of stock, right? It's helpful when you think about who's in the group, the investment cohort that I'm investing with, because that gives you a sense of the volatility of the asset, the future of the asset, the longevity of the asset, and how you ought to handle it. And the research, you can do research on what is it, and like you can study how it works, right? And what does it do?
Yeah.
But you can also do research on who else is owning it and buying it. Are they selling it? Are they buying it? And when someone says, I bought it instead of gold, well, that's a signal. When they say, well, I bought it because, I think Facebook or Google are going to build it into their iPhone or their Android phone, that's a different signal. When they say, I bought it because I think that all of the cash and the credit on the balance sheets of every company on earth is crumbling, and I feel like this should replace that on their balance sheets, that's a different signal, right? If they say, I bought it because I think it's going to empower 2 billion people, economically empower people and lift them out of poverty, and I think it's a human right, that's a different thing. So try to figure out, what do people believe about the thing you're investing in? Who's owning it? And that'll tell you the future of it and how you ought to treat it. And, it's pretty helpful. If I did own a city block in Istanbul, figure out when I decide to sell it, who can I sell it to? Is it 5 families? Is it 50 families? How liquid is the market? Why will they buy it? Right? Yeah. All of those things are interesting, and I think they're helpful when you think deeply about about who owns it, who will want it in the future.
So there is Michael Saylor with his warning and advice to investors. And I agree, I've no problem with anyone buying whatever tokens that they please, but I do think it's important to make the distinction that if you are buying SHIB or meme coins, it's a lot closer to buying a lottery ticket than it is to investing. Now, turning to some of the latest on-chain Bitcoin data, out from Glassnode, we have an update on the Bitcoin balance on exchanges. This week, we have seen Bitcoin balance on exchanges to continue to decline, falling to 2.47 million Bitcoin. In my opinion, the Bitcoin balance on exchanges is one of the best on-chain metrics to watch, as it gives a good idea of sentiment of the biggest players in the space, such as institutions or high net worth investors. If Bitcoin is continuing to flow out of exchanges and into cold storage, that is very bullish for the overall price. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed today's video and that provided you with some value. I'll see you all in the next video, and as always, have a great day.